Good evening, everyone. I'm GWFawkes. Welcome to Model Gaming Show. This is the live show we do every Sunday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I hope you're enjoying the live feature, and let's just dig right into this, okay? This is the week of May 13th, 2018. Missed a big story last week because I wanted to talk about something else, but I'm going to bring it up in a big way this week. But first, two new releases, I guess we're calling them that. First is Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition for the Switch. Came out on May 18th. It's currently sitting at a 77. First game really got about that same reviews. This just has everything that was ever released for it packaged in. Great. I don't care about any of those games, the Dynasty Warriors style games. If you do, it looks like looks like a great package. The next, again, another remaster. Dragon's Crown Pro for the PS4. It's a PS3 game, great art style, great co-op. It was something I wanted to play on the PS3 and something I might pick up when I eventually get a PS4. It's currently sitting about an 80, which, if I recall, I think the original was low 80s on Metacritic. Bunch of smaller news stories I want to get into, just going to touch on them lightly and then delve into our bigger topic. The first is a continuing story. Chrono Trigger on Steam. A month and a half or so, I talked about this. It was released, the mobile version was released on Steam. It doesn't look good. They basically have updated the UI, released a patch, and another update is coming in July. It looks pretty much like it originally did, and it looks good now. They're still continuing to patch it, update it, all that good stuff. So, great. Zone of the Enders, the second runner Mars remaster now has a release date and a price. That's September 6th, $30. That's great. If I had a PS4, I'd buy it immediately. Those games were, the Zone of the Enders were really damn fun. And, to be getting a remaster, even better. It's something that people basically bought originally for the Metal Gear Solid 2 demo. That's why a bunch of people bought it, but it's actually a legitimately fun game if short. So I think this has both of them in there and some VR capabilities. So it looks like a more complete package, and $30, that's great. That's a good price. That is a good price. Next, THQ, they had one of their quarterly calls, and they're delaying games most likely into 2019 spring, beginning of the year, whatnot, just to get out of the way of all these big games that are coming in the fall. The first, Metro Exodus. Really excited for it. It's pushed to Q1 2019. That's good. Really good. Get out of the holidays. Get out of all that crap. There's too much coming. 2, Biomutant and Darksiders 3 are, quote, under evaluation for setting a release date. So basically, they're not coming out anytime this year, most likely. It's too busy, and especially with Metro coming, you'll probably get Biomutant sometime in the spring or summer, and Darksiders 3 summer, fall. That's my guess, just so they can space out their releases. Last thing I want to touch on, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is getting a Battle Royale mode. Who would have thought that was going to happen? Jesus, of course. So basically what they released is, hey, we're going to have 3 different modes. There's not going to be a campaign, but the zombies, the online multiplayer, and this Battle Royale mode will all have some sense of story elements pushed in. I don't buy that for a second. What story? Like, nobody plays zombies or multiplayer for story. Come on, man. And this Battle Royale mode, I think they're going to be able to get 32 people, which honestly is not that bad for a first-person shooter that looks that good. I mean, Fortnite's able to get away with it because of the art style. It looks good, but it's also cartoony and pretty basic. Where Call of Duty always has pretty dang advanced graphics. So 32 players is not too shabby, really. I think, if I'm recalling correctly, one of the battlefields is able to get 64, but I think that would be pushing it. I think 32 is probably going to be a good size for these types of games. Yeah. I mean, because how big are these maps really? Like, even in multiplayer sometimes, right? I remember, I think it was a Modern Warfare 2 game, and that's basically where I decided to call online multiplayer like done with the Call of Duty franchise. Was there was a map so small that you would basically spawn in one of like 12 spawn points or 16 spawn points, but there was always a guy right behind you, and so people that were good would just literally run in a circle and just shoot people in the back that were killing. It was terrible. But I digress. Yes, they're getting a Battle Royale mode. Expect many, many franchises to start having a Battle Royale mode as kind of the next thing. What I always thought was cool about the Call of Duty series is they use zombies, and that's kind of always been their deal, which is cool. Nobody's really copied that, surprisingly. And it's a great mode. It's probably their best mode, honestly. And I'm surprised no one's copied that. Anyways, going into our main topic tonight, I want to touch on something that leads directly into it. So this week, a huge Walmart ad came out, Walmart Canada ad came out for upcoming games list, right? And Rage 2 was initially leaked before that, okay? And so what they did was, in that leak, Rage, I think Bethesda immediately captured that and started making fun of why it's not official, right? And started putting in pink like, oh, we would change, it's supposed to be this change, it's supposed to be capitalized, like it's not, just having fun with it. Basically not acknowledging it, but not acknowledging it either. And then the next week they released a tweet saying, hey, check out stuff, a teaser trailer, and then a gameplay trailer. So tongue-in-cheek, that just leads to the validity of this list, and essentially Bethesda is throwing all those companies like under the bus, which is so cool because they're like, yeah, it's real. And so everyone else is just like, shit. They're just not saying anything, but the fact that Bethesda immediately came out and acknowledged that Rage 2 was part of it is really, really funny. Let's get into the other games that were announced and really my excitedness level for them. Division 2, don't care at all. Division looks cool, but that seems like a game that should be ever changing and not like a Destiny situation. I don't know why it needs a 2. Why wouldn't you just say, hey, we're releasing the next massive upgrade. It's going to cost you $60. It's called Division: The Second Coming or something like that. Some subtitle BS. And it's a huge overhaul patch that imports all your stuff. Why release a second one? I don't get that at all. I know you want to get new people, but you're bifurcating your audience by doing that. So don't understand. Splinter Cell, really excited. I like the last two Splinter Cells, Conviction and not Hardline. Gosh, that's Battlefield. Anyways, I like Splinter Cell. I actually didn't like the mainline games. I actually like the more action-focused Conviction and the other one that came out, whose name I'm forgetting. So I'm curious to see where they go with this. It's been too dormant, and Sam Fisher's awesome. It's a great character, and I hope Michael Ironside comes back to voice him. Just Cause 4, played a little bit of Just Cause 3, just not my game. And Just Cause 4, unless something drastically changes with it, that won't be for me either. It's just an open sandbox game with basically a grappling hook, parachute, and you just jump around and fly around and go do random things all in this giant sandbox, but it's frankly nothing memorable for me. There's one that just says Assassin's Creed. I can't imagine that that's a new entry. I think what that's just going to be is just a GOTY edition. They just released 2 major expansions, and I'm sure there's been a ton of other stuff that they've released overall, so I'm sure later this year you'll get an Assassin's Creed Origins Definitive Edition with everything included. And I can't remember if they're releasing one more additional pack, but if they're not, this'll just be everything all in one. Really cool game. I've played a few of the Lego games, but not anything crazy. But Lego DC Villains, that just sounds cool. That sounds like it'd be a really fun concept. You get Suicide Squad in there, you get all the DC villains in there. I almost checked myself thinking that was Marvel. God. Yeah, you get all those awesome villains in there, and just have a fun sandbox game. Maybe it's the villains taking on the good guys. That would be really fun. Rage 2, like I already mentioned. And then a really weird naming, and I think it's just a mistake. Forza Horizons 5. First of all, it's Forza Horizon. 3 was the last one that came out. So it's a little odd that 5 is the next. Maybe it will just be called Forza Horizons, right? And that'll be like the new entry into it. So instead of Forza Horizon 3, it's Forza Horizons, you know, Beach Cities, and then they just release like iterations of it, right? Maybe that's the way they're going, or it's just a simple mistake. Speaking of another 5 game, Gears of War 5. Well, I mean, come on, we all knew this was coming, right? I don't know if Gears of War sold like gangbusters or not, but it sold well. And even though the 4th one was received well, not amazing, I think it's like low 80s, and everyone was just kind of like, yeah, it's okay. From what I've heard, it just strayed too close to the previous series when this would have been a perfect chance to like try a bunch of new stuff, and then they just didn't. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, but at the same time, I hope they've learned from 4 and really start implementing changes. So what do I think about this leak overall? It's funny. I don't really care about being spoiled at E3. I think it would actually cause more hype. That's a bad phrase, but create more hype, right? So think about what Sony's doing for their E3 press conference this year. They came out and said, we're using 4 games. Spider-Man, excuse me, Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima, you know, and 2 other games that whatever, right? And so it's just like they're stating up front, this is what our conference is going to be about. Same with the Switch, really. Hey, it's going to be about Smash Brothers. Great. I don't really care about these huge secret announcements. They're cool and they make it, but I'd rather have it be announced and have it be a known thing. And then when it gets to E3, they can go, hey, we're going to go in depth on these when they're ready. I think that's a smarter way to do it. Yeah, you build hype and you get the greater, you know, I guess, populace talking about it, right? When you handle it like that. But at the same time, it really doesn't matter to me. Games come out, like when God of War got, you know, shadow dropped at one of their E3 conference, everyone was like, oh damn, like that was awesome, that trailer, right? But at the same time, if they would have made an announcement, yo, God of War's coming, we're gonna show you 20 minutes of it, be prepared, and then they open with it, I think it'd have the same impact, truthfully, because the hype would have been building up until that point, right? So, and clearly the hype on that game is real. So yeah, I don't know. I've never been a guy who cares about leaks. I believe 100% that all these games are coming out and that they're all in development and they're releasing within the next 2 years. Or excuse me, by the end of next year. I believe that's real, 100%. And I think Walmart Canada just messed up. But at the same time, I think transparency would be better anyways. Hey, everyone knows Gears of War 5 and the next Forza game is coming out. And everyone kind of knew Division 2 was coming out. And Assassin's Creed, duh, right? Of course it's going to get a definitive edition. The only thing that got really spoiled is Rage 2, which is a series that no one gave 2 craps about. I liked it when it came out. It got shat on. Like, there were problems for the PC version when it came out, and the texturing and all that stuff, but I enjoyed it. The AI was really damn good. It was a fun game. It just wasn't like super memorable. And then, you know, Lego DC Villains, cool, great, but like, it's not a big deal. So, sorry, that's my pessimistic take on it. I'd just rather have full transparency rather than, you know, rather than them trying to just shadow drop everything and do that. So anyways, that's going to do it for tonight. Okay, thank you for joining. Shorter episode, kind of just a little updates, right? E3 is upon us in 3 weeks, so I can't imagine it's going to be like heavy news weeks. It's all going to just be spoilery stuff, and I don't really want to talk about that. Like if some announcement gets made and they're, you know, for the E3 lineup and what it's going to be, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about like rumors. This seemed to be more than rumors considering Bethesda just outed everyone. That's why I'm talking about it now. But the next 3 weeks probably are going to be a little bit slow. Thank you for watching. I am GWFawkes. That's GWFawkes. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at that name. And you are watching Model Gaming. This is the Model Gaming Show live. Twitch.tv/Model Gaming Show, and you can check me out on YouTube for all the archives. And thank you very much for taking a look at this, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks.